Okay, hello, good morning everyone. Welcome again to our class, Culinary Arts and Bartending. So, our topic for this day is all about fish and seafood dishes. So, first, let's have the fish cookery. Okay, so let us find what is fish. These are vertebrates and have skin and scales which cover the body and they move with the help of fins. So these are aquatic cold-blooded vertebrates which are found both in sea and in fresh water. Okay, so many edible fish, they are a great source of nutrients, especially the omega-3 fatty acids. Okay? And then the proteins, makakakuha ka rin dito ng iodine, B vitamins, and calcium. Next one. So we have here the composition and structure of fish. So fish has a very little connective tissue. This is one of the most important differences between the fish and the meat. So first one, fish cooks very quickly even at low heat. So madali silang maluto. Okay? Fish is naturally tender and the best cooking method is the moist heat cooking method. Okay? This is not to create tenderness but to preserve the moistness and provide variety. And then the fourth one, cooked fish must be handled very carefully or it will fall apart. So, we must handle the fish carefully para hindi siya masira. Okay? Next one is the market farms of fish. So as you can see here, we have whole fish, drawn fish, dressed fish fillet, butterfly fillet, and steak cut fish. So whole or round fish are sold just as they come from the water. Okay, so ito yon, buo siya mismo. While the drawn fish, they have been eviscerated, they must be scaled, and if the head is left on, it must be de-gilled. So, dapat matanggal yung kanyang gills. The edible portion is about 48%. Dressed fish are ready to cook. Usually, natanggal na yung kanyang head, tail, and yung kanyang fins. Okay? The edible portion is about 67%. While the fillets, these are sides of the fish cut away from the backbone and they are ready to cook. So these are boneless. Wala na siyang, makakain mo na lahat. Wala na siyang buto. Okay? So we have fish fillet and butterfly fillet. Well, the steak, these are ready to cook. They are cross-sectional slices of large fish. And the edible portion is about 86%. Next one, we have the different classifications of fish. On the basis of their shape, we have round fish and flat fish. Pag sinabi natin round, yung kanyang eyes, they have eyes on both sides of their body. Okay? So for instance, we have the mackerel, salmon, trout, haddock, and so on and so forth. While sa flatfish naman, yung kanyang eyes are on the same side of their body. Usually, they are found at the depths at the bottom of the sea. Okay? For instance, we have the halibut, the turbot, the sole, and so on and so forth. And then on the basis of their fat content, we have white fish and then the oily fish. Pag sinabi natin white fish, ito yung mga low in fat content. For instance, we have the halibut, the haddock, the cod, the lemon sole, the turbot, and so on and so forth. Sa oily fish naman, these are fish that are high in fat content. Okay, for instance, we have mackerel, salmon, And then we also have the trout. On the basis of their habitat, we have river fish and sea fish. So from the word itself, river fish are those fishes who live in river. While the sea fish naman, ito yung mga nakatira naman sa sea. Okay? So how to select a fish? So these are the following points that you have to look into if you are going to buy or selecting a fish. Okay? So first, fish should have a brilliant appearance with scales firmly in place. The eyes should be bright, shiny, convex, and completely full. The gills should be moist and a bright deep red color. The stomach should be firm and intact. Okay, dapat firm siya. And then the flesh should feel firm and slightly resistant to the touch. Finally, fresh fish should smell fresh and clean, not fishy. Okay? So, kailangan matandaan nyo ito for you to select the fresh and the best fish in the market. Next one, storing fish. Okay, when you store your fish, there are 2 points that na pwede ninyong gawin. You can keep your fish on ice. Kaya nga kung mapapansin ninyo sa market, nilalagyan nila ng ice yung fish. Okay. And then, preserving your fish with salt. Kaya meron tayong mga dried na fishes. It's because para ma-preserve yung mga fish, nilalagyan nila yan ng salt. Next one is the shellfish cookery. So as you can see here, we have the different types of shellfish. We have crustaceans, the mollusk, and the cephalopods. So crustaceans are invertebrate animals with a skeleton or shell. Ito yung mga lobsters, crayfish, crabs, what else? Shrimp, meron din tayong prawns, and then yung crayfish. Okay. That's an example of crustaceans. While ang mollusk naman, it can be divided into 2 categories. Meron tayong bivalves and meron din tayong univalves. Pag sinabi natin bivalves, meron siyang 2 shells. And yung univalves naman, iisa lang yung kanyang shell. So for instance, nandyan ang snail, ang oyster, what else? Mussels, and so on and so forth. Ang squid and octopus kasi, included yan sa cephalopods. Cephalopods are inverted, they have muscular exterior, nag-i-eject sila ng ink from their ink sac. It's because yan yung ginagawa nilang means of defending or hiding themselves from the predators. So, example ng cephalopods, meron tayong squid, octopus, cuttlefish, and so on and so forth. Okay? So how to select your shellfish? So most crustaceans must be alive and vigorous when purchased. So dapat alive siya. As much as possible, you should buy shellfish in season. Okay? Para hindi siya ganun kamahal. When buying shrimp, the meat should look springy and moist. Lobster should feel heavy and full with all claws and feet intact. And then, mollusks should be alive. When purchased, look for mollusk with tightly closed shell. Dapat closed yung kanyang shell. If the shell is partly open, you have to tap the shell to see if the mollusk snaps shut. If it doesn't, the mollusk is dead and should be bypassed. So, huwag niyo nang bibilihin yung mga mollusk na open yung kanyang shell. So, all shellfish should have a pleasant ocean smell. Okay, avoid specimens that have an unpleasant odor. After purchasing and selecting your shellfish, you have to store and preserve your shellfish properly. These are some points that you should remember in storing and preserving your shellfish. Refrigerate live crustaceans on a bed of seaweed or damp newspaper. Mussels should be buried in ice. while clams and oysters should be placed on a bed of ice and covered with a paper towel so they don't dry out. Place the ice and mollusks in a fridge in a container that will allow water to drain. Shelled shrimp and shark scallops may be stored wrapped in plastic. And cephalopods can be rinsed with water, placed on a plate, tightly covered with a plastic wrap, and kept in the refrigerator. Shellfish can go bad quickly, so you should plan to prepare and cook your purchase as soon as possible. Kasi madali nga yang masira. So we have here also the different market forms of fresh shellfish. So live shellfish, ito yung buhay pa. Okay, for instance, we have crabs, oysters, clams, and shrimps. Whole fish naman, they are no longer alive but sold in their original form. Shock shellfish, the outer shell that covers the meat has been removed. Okay, natanggal na yung kanyang shell. Headless shellfish, the heads are removed. Cooked shellfish, these are usually canned. So the final step before cooking is preparing your shellfish. So how will you do this? Will depend upon the type of the shellfish as well as the cooking method you want to use. First one is crustaceans such as lobster and crab generally need no preparation beyond rinsing prior to cooking. Remove the shell and vein from shrimp. So, you can use the veiner para matanggal yung kanyang dark vein. Next one, soak mollusk for 20 minutes para matanggal yung kanyang sand. And then you can scrub and remove the bird. Okay. Cephalopods generally need to be tenderized before cooking. This can be done by pounding them gently, scoring the flesh, or marinating in milk. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you for listening, everyone. I'll see you on our next class. Bye, everyone.